I never thought I would write these words, never thought I would even imagine such a thing happening in my life. But here I am, staring at a blank page, trying to make sense of the chaos that has swallowed my world. My name is Clara, and for the past 12 years, I believed I was living a normal, happy life with my husband, Daniel, and our 15-year-old daughter, Emily. At least, that's what I thought until everything fell apart like a house of cards. Daniel and I met in college. He was charming, confident, and funny, the kind of man everyone noticed the moment he walked into a room. I was shy, quiet, and never thought someone like him would ever look my way. But he did. He noticed me. And within months, we were inseparable. He swept me off my feet with candlelit dinners, long walks under the stars, and promises that sounded like they were pulled straight out of a fairy tale. We got married 2 years later, in a small ceremony surrounded by family and friends. Daniel promised me forever, and I believed him with all my heart. Those first few years were everything I had hoped for: love, laughter, and the excitement of building a life together. When Emily was born, I thought my happiness had reached its peak. Watching him hold her for the first time, his eyes full of pride and joy, I knew that no matter what life threw at me, we would face it together as a family. Life, however, has a way of showing you its darker side when you least expect it. It started subtly. Daniel began coming home late, claiming work emergencies or long meetings. At first, I trusted him. I never doubted him, not even for a second. But the nights he returned, I noticed the small things: the faint scent of perfume that wasn't mine, the hushed tones when he answered his phone, the way his smile didn't quite reach his eyes when he looked at me. I pushed the thoughts aside, convincing myself I was imagining things. I wanted to believe in him, in us, in the life we built together. Emily started noticing changes too. She became quieter at home, often retreating to her room with her headphones on. She was 15, and I knew teenage mood swings were normal, but there was something different. Something heavier. One evening, while I was tidying up her room, I found a text message on her phone. I didn't mean to, I swear I didn't, but it was too glaring to ignore. It was from one of her friends, Lily, someone we had known for years. The message was odd, almost flirtatious, but I didn't connect it to Daniel yet. I thought perhaps teenagers were just being silly with their words. Then came the night that shattered everything. I had gone out to meet a friend for dinner, leaving Daniel at home with Emily. When I returned, the house was eerily quiet. The lights in the living room were dim, and the front door was slightly ajar. My heart skipped a beat. I called out for Daniel, but there was no answer. That's when I heard it: soft laughter coming from Emily's room. Confused and anxious, I slowly opened the door. What I saw made my stomach drop, my knees weaken, and my mind scream in disbelief. Daniel, my husband, was sitting on Emily's bed, holding hands with Lily. They didn't even notice me standing there, frozen in shock. The way they looked at each other, the intimacy between them, it was unbearable. I felt my chest tighten, my vision blur, and the room spin. I wanted to scream, to run, to wake up from this nightmare, but my body refused to move. Lily jumped up, stumbling over her words, and Daniel froze. That moment, the guilt, the shame, the betrayal, it was written all over his face. He tried to explain, tried to say it was a mistake, that it didn't mean anything, but the words didn't reach me. How could he? How could he do this to me, to our family, with our daughter's friend? I had trusted him with my heart, my life, and he had shattered it in the most unforgivable way. The days that followed were a blur. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and every time I looked at Daniel, rage and heartbreak collided in a storm I couldn't control. Emily was confused, crying, and angry, and I didn't know how to comfort her. How could I? Her best friend had betrayed her, yes, but her father had betrayed both of us. Every memory I had of Daniel now felt tainted. Every laugh, every hug, every promise, it all felt like lies. I confronted him countless times. I wanted answers, explanations, any sign that the man I married still existed. But each time, he gave excuses, weak apologies, and hollow promises. I realized that trust, once broken, doesn't just heal with words. I needed time, space, and clarity to figure out how to move forward. But the question that haunted me the most was, how could he look at me, at our daughter, knowing what he had done? Emily struggled too. She couldn't comprehend why her father would betray her trust in such a way. She stopped going to Lily's house, stopped inviting her over, and even distanced herself from her school friends for a while. I tried to be strong for her, but sometimes, late at night, when I was alone, the weight of everything crushed me. I cried for the life I thought I had, for the family I thought we were, and for the man I thought I knew. Therapy became our lifeline. We started seeing a counselor together, and it was there that I learned something crucial. Betrayal doesn't just affect the relationship between two people, it spreads, infects, and corrodes everything it touches. Emily needed to understand that her father's actions were not her fault, that she was loved, and that she could still trust people, even if trust in one person had been broken. I needed to understand that my life didn't end because of Daniel's choices, that I could still reclaim my strength, my voice, and my dignity. It wasn't easy. There were nights when I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, my mind a whirlwind of anger, sadness, and disbelief. I wanted to scream at Daniel, to demand every answer, to tear down the walls that had hidden his betrayal. I wanted to throw him out, to leave everything behind, to start anew somewhere far away from the memories that haunted every corner of our home. But there were also moments of crushing doubt, when I questioned myself, my worth, and whether I was truly strong enough to survive this storm. I felt lost, like a ship drifting without a compass, tossed by waves I could not control. Yet slowly, almost imperceptibly, I began to find my rhythm. I realized that the only way forward was to rebuild from within. I focused on Emily, on nurturing the bond that had been strained but never broken. I poured my energy into my work, throwing myself into projects that reminded me of my capabilities and my passions. I reached out to old friends, people whose loyalty and kindness reminded me that not all connections were tainted by betrayal. Little by little, I began to reclaim the parts of myself that I had lost in the shadows of Daniel's actions. I learned something crucial during those months of reflection. Love is not just about blind trust or romantic fantasies. True love is built on respect, honesty, and integrity. It is measured by the actions that strengthen bonds, not by promises that can be broken. Daniel, in betraying all of that, had shown me exactly what I deserved and what I would no longer accept. Months passed, and Emily and I began to heal together. Our laughter returned in small, tentative bursts, and we shared secrets, dreams, and inside jokes that reminded us of who we were before the chaos. We found joy in simple things: Sunday morning pancakes, evening walks in the park, quiet talks under the stars. Daniel remained in the house, but an invisible wall had formed between us, one that could not be dismantled by empty apologies or fleeting gestures. I realized that some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt in the same way. I chose to forgive Daniel not for his sake, but for mine. Forgiveness, I discovered, is not about forgetting. It is about freeing yourself from the chains of someone else's mistakes and reclaiming your own peace. One evening, Emily and I sat together on the porch, the sky painted in shades of pink and orange as the sun dipped below the horizon. She leaned her head on my shoulder, her small hand resting in mine, and whispered softly, "Mom, I know we'll be okay. I love you." In that moment, a wave of clarity washed over me. Love is not always about perfect families or romantic bliss. Love is resilience. Love is surviving the storms life throws at you, and finding the light again, even when it seems impossible. I looked at Emily, her eyes bright with hope and trust, and I knew that we would survive. Not because Daniel had changed, but because we had the two of us, together, unbroken. Life doesn't erase betrayal, and it doesn't magically heal broken hearts. But it teaches lessons no other experience can. It shows you that you are stronger than you think, that you can endure pain, heartbreak, and the unimaginable and still rise. Daniel may have shattered the illusion of our perfect life, but he did not destroy me. He did not destroy Emily. And together, we would find our new beginning, one day, one step at a time. Even now, memories of that night sometimes linger, the hollow silence of our home, the heartbreak etched in Emily's eyes, but they no longer control me. I have reclaimed my life, my joy, and my self-respect. I have learned to trust again, carefully, wisely, and intentionally. And one day, Perhaps, I will even find love that is true, love that uplifts instead of shattering, love that strengthens instead of betraying. For now, though, I have Emily. I have myself. And that, I realized, is more than enough to rebuild, to heal, and to hope for the future with courage and grace.